school on Monday. So you will come in Tuesday, and bingo, we have a math test. Absolutely nobody is going to be worried about it, though, because you know exactly what I'm going to ask you. Starting with question number 9. Question number 9, here we go. I'm giving you this general formula. You are to read the question, and part A is simply, okay, what version of this formula am I going to use for problem 9? Well, what do they tell me? It's thrown with an initial velocity of 20 feet per second. So where do I put the 20? Right here. So my equation, negative 16t squared plus 20t, from the top of a building 30 feet tall, plus 30. Because what do V sub naught and S sub naught stand for? S sub naught is the initial height, and I'm on a building 30 feet tall, right? So the ball is starting 30 feet above the ground, and I'm throwing it with a velocity of 20 feet per second. Are you with me? That's A. So those of you that said I couldn't figure it out, come on. That's A. That's all there is to it. Now, when does the ball hit the ground? Now you're going to use this equation right here to answer all the rest of the problems in this number 9. You're either going to fill in a height or you're going to fill in seconds. Read the question. You're either going to put a number here or you're going to put a number here. They're going to give you the number. You got to figure this one out though. When is the ball on the ground? Wait a minute. What does this stand for again? Height? If I am on the ground, what is my height? 0. So 0 equals negative 16t squared plus 20t plus 30. That equation needs to be solved. I wouldn't try to factor it. I don't think it factors, and I think it's going to take too long. What could I do instead? The quadratic formula would be my choice. And because I happened to notice as I wrote it down, these are all divisible by 2. If you want to, let me say that again, if you want to, you can divide everything. I'm going to divide by negative 2 because I don't like these to be negative. This is a leftover from like when I was a freshman in high school. I just don't deal well with these negatives. So my personal choice is divide through by negative 2. You don't have to divide by anything if you don't want to. But if I divide, my numbers are a little bit smaller. Not a lot, but a little bit smaller. So t equals negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4 times a, times c. All over 2a. Now you can use a calculator. To help you with the arithmetic. So let's see. 100. What's going to happen with this double negative there? Yeah, so plus 4 times 8 times 15. I got 580 under there. So I'm going to get 2 answers, 10 plus root 580 over 16, 10 minus root 580 over 16. Now for this problem, I am going to ask you to actually work it out decimally, because the question is, when is the ball hitting the ground? These answers, I mean, nobody's going to say, oh, at 10 plus root 580 over 16. They're not going to say that. They're going to say what? After 4 seconds. So that's what I want you to do. I want you to get a decimal. So when I type this in, I do 10 plus the square root of 580 equals, enter, and then divided by 16. I got 2.13. Anybody match that? Now I'm going to do the other one. 10 minus the square root of 580 equals, divided by 16. I got negative 0.9 or negative 0.88. Tell me about that answer. Savannah?
Negative 0.88 is extraneous.
It's extraneous because
it's like negative.
it's not negative feet, it's negative time. That's a t value. So that would be seconds. Well, we can't have negative 0.88 seconds. So our only answer is right there. And that makes sense because if you drew a picture of this, here's the building that's 30 feet tall. Here's the rock going up into the air. How many times does it hit the ground? Once. If you continued the parabola, there is another point back here, but that doesn't make sense. It's not part of the problem. The ball started up there. Everybody got it? Next. How high is the ball after 1.5 seconds? Now, kids, this is the equation that you are using for every problem and every different question in number 9. You're either going to put a number in for height or you're going to put a number in for seconds. How high is the ball after 1.5 seconds? What am I going to do with that 1.5?
Put it in for t.
Put it in for t. So S of t is going to equal negative 16 times 1.5 squared plus 20 times 1.5 plus 30. When I put this into my calculator, what's getting squared here? Just the 1.5. So 1.5 squared times negative 16 plus 20 times 1.5 plus 30. I got 24. Let me know if you confirm that. 24 feet. How high is the ball after 1.5 seconds? 24 feet. How did we get 24? We plugged 1.5 in for t. All right, anybody still have a question about that?
So whenever you're given a time, you have to put it into both the t's?
Yep.
Not just one?
Yep, every t.
Except for the first.
Well, you can put it there too if you want, but that'd just be S of 1.5. This is still going to be the height. So you don't have to put it in there. It doesn't have any impact. Number 8, simplify. All right, how do we start? What do we do first? Got to take care of this, right? So be careful. That's going to be 9x squared. And wait a minute, while I'm at it, can I take this guy to the top? Yeah. Remember, negative exponents move you. So since this one's in the bottom right now, I'm going to take him up to the top. Everybody okay? 9 over 6, does that reduce? 3 over 2? take care of your numbers. Now, what about this? They don't match, so I'm going to have x's somewhere. On the bottom, and how many will I have down there? 2. And how many y's on the top? 3. There's your answer. Anybody have a question about that? Number 7. You do not have to show any work for number 7. Boys and girls, the equation of a circle looks like this. What goes in the parentheses? The opposite of the center. So my center is 6, -2. So this will be x minus 6, y plus 2. This blank is always a plain number, and it always represents the radius squared. So for us, that number would be 16. Now, if you miss that one, it's because you didn't study, because that's all there is to it. You don't have to do any work at all. You just have to know what the equation of a circle looks like. Number 6, A. Write the equation of the line containing these 2 points. Okay? Now you have done this over and over. What do we need to do first if we're going to write the equation of the line? Find the slope. How do we find the slope?
3 minus 15.
We can do 3 minus 15, and then we have to do -2 minus 2. Hannah McCormick, do you remember that it's always y's over x's? Always y's over x's. So we end up with -12 over -4, so our slope is 3. Now what do we do? Zach Bond, do you remember what we do now?
Put in y equals mx plus b.
Absolutely. Now, is there anything besides y equals mx plus b we could do? Yes, if you like y minus y1 equals mx minus x1, that's fine. Zach said this, we're going to go with this, but you can do it the other way too. So Zach, pick a point. Which point?
2 and 15.
All right, let's pick 2, 15. There's no negatives in there. Don't have to worry about that. So 15 goes in for the y. 3 goes in for the slope because you just found that. 2 goes in for the x. I got 9. Moses, do you need to move up here so you can see? Where are your glasses? Let me guess you lost them. You want to sit up here?
No, it's okay.
So the intercept is 9. What's the equation of our line then? Don't stop here. You haven't written the line. Y equals 3x plus 9. Cole Peterson, is that ringing some bells back there?
Yep.
Same directions. Write the equation of the line. I need the slope, just like before. But the problem is I don't have 2 points. So I'm going to have to find slope differently. This is where your beady little eyes should be focused. What does perpendicular mean? Opposite reciprocal slope. How do I find the slope of this line?
Put it in y.
I get y by itself. So I'll subtract the 2x and divide by a negative. What is the slope of this line? What's the slope of this line? The slope of this line is 2, which means my perpendicular slope, the one I want, will be -1/2. Now I do exactly what Zach Bond did before. I don't get to pick, it's here, I only have one choice. But y equals mx plus b. Oh my, what does b work out to be? 0. So your equation is just y equals -1/2 x. You can put +0 on there if it makes you feel better.
I did point slope.
You would get exactly the same answer. Keep in mind, I've done slope-intercept. You can do point slope if you want. You should get exactly the same answer. Number 5. We had a quiz over this. What's the A asking for? I'm looking at number 5. What's A asking for? Distance. So my points, and I need the distance. Okay, this isn't baby school. I don't give you the distance formula. You need to have it memorized. So the distance is a big square root, right? X minus x squared plus y minus y squared. That's distance. One minus 6 squared. -2 minus 3. -5 squared. I got the square root of 50. If you put down the square root of 50, you're going to get it almost right. What do you have to remember?
5.
This breaks down into 5 times 10, which is 5 times 2. We have 2 5s. The answer is 5√2, the best answer, 5√2. Where are we? Okay? All right, now we're going to do midpoint. How do we find midpoint? Keyword, average. How do we find the average of two things? Add them and divide by 2. So my average x is 7/2. My average y is 1/2. There's your midpoint. How do I get the x's and y's? I add and divide by 2. Trey, what's on the iPad, sweetheart? Same with you, Google. Nothing on that iPad. Okay, everybody okay? That's the last 2 pages of the test. Let's see what the first 2 pages are. Number 3, which property? Additive inverse. B, associative multiplication. C, distributive. 4A, wow, that's a doozy. Anybody have an idea about 4A? The plus? Any ideas about 4A? Hannah? Absolutely. When you have 4 terms, listen carefully if you struggled with this, when you have 4 terms, we're going to group it. So we're going to look at these 2 terms only. What can I factor out of just these 2? I take an x squared out. And what will that leave me with? Remember, we're only looking here. X plus 4? All right, well, hopefully we'll get caught up tomorrow. For tomorrow, practice test 2. Got it? Got it. All right.
Higher than.